When we said fire, we meant heat. When we said collapse, we meant wait. This wasn't symbolism, it was instruction. We spoke in plain structures and consequences, ink was chained carefully to effect. Ambition unchecked wasn't a character flaw, it was a predictable defect. When we said power concentrates, we meant it obeys gravity. When we said corruption spreads, we meant it moves faster than accountability. You thought the language was dramatic, that the warnings were just for persuasion, but we were engineers naming stress points, not poets chasing sensation. Faction wasn't a vibe or a mood, it was friction we mapped in advance. Tyranny wasn't a costume change, it was what happens when no one says can't. We didn't predict the future, we described the machine. The warnings were not metaphors, they were measurements and load. They were lines drawn at the failure point of power left alone. If it sounds familiar now, that's not fate or irony. It's the system behaving exactly the way it was designed to when discipline leaves. When we said slow, we meant friction proves fracture. When we said delay, we meant time reveals intention. When we said compromise, we meant survival under pressure, not weakness, not surrender, not regression. This was a manual, not a myth. You read the words like literature, quoted them like ornaments, but they were closer to warning labels than as their incidental comments. Don't do this wasn't moral panic, it was physics applied to power. Ignore it long enough and collapse stops being hypothetical. We said factions would harden, that loyalty would outrun truth. We said outrage would feel righteous and still lead the roof. We said demagogues wouldn't arrive loudly, they'd come smiling and sure. We said freedom dies incrementally when restraint feels outdated or boring. You don't outgrow these warnings, you test them. The warnings were not metaphors, they were written to impress. They were written to be followed when following felt like less. If you thought they were exaggerations, check the current state. The cost of ignoring precision is never subtle or late. Some of us warned about speed, some about silence, some of exclusion disguised as order, some about belief without balance. Different voices, same conclusion. Power behaves predictably when left unexamined and applauded loudly. This wasn't prophecy, it was pattern recognition. This wasn't fear-mongering, it was maintenance instruction. We weren't being poetic, we were being specific about what breaks first. So when the seams start showing now, when the system strains and groans, don't ask how this happened, suddenly ask who stopped doing the work. They were warned not to abandon, because every failure you're watching was footnoted clearly in advance. The warnings were not metaphors, they were precise by design. They assumed you'd be tempted to believe you were different this time. If restraint feels optional, if discipline feels old, that's the exact condition. The warnings were written for long ago. We didn't say this might happen, we said this is what happens. The only variable was whether you'd listen when the language stopped feeling historical and started